Hey,
Hey.
I was just at the bank, and there was this really hot teller, and she didn't ask me to go do it with her in the vault.
Same kind of thing happened to me. Woman pizza delivery guy comes over, gives me the pizza, takes the money, and leaves.
What, no, like, nice apartment, bet the bedrooms are huge?
No, nothing.
You know what? We have to turn off the porn.
I think you're right.
All right, ready?
1,
2,
3. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's kind of a relief. You want to see if we still have it?
Yeah.
Free porn! We have free porn!
This iconic scene was taken from one of the episodes of Friends. In this episode, Chandler and Joey discover that they have obtained free access to pornography on a television channel.
Hey!
Whoa.
Is this porn?
So, throughout the chapter, they both remain stuck at home for days, without turning off or changing channels, afraid that they will lose the free porn, and mesmerized by the uninterrupted content on their screen. This episode was recorded in 1998. Although, at that time, the internet was taking its first steps and becoming popular among homes, easy and instant access to pornographic content was only a fraction of what is today. Exactly for this reason, Chandler enjoys immense happiness and ecstasy at the possibility of watching free pornography on their television is understandable.
Do we pay for this?
No, we didn't even pay our cable bill. Maybe this is how they punish us.
Can you imagine this scene today? Would you be in complete excitement to discover that, out of nowhere, you have free access to pornography? Let's go back a little further. Would you be instigated and completely excited to receive a mere Playboy magazine? The answer to both questions will be no, in most cases. We are so saturated with easily accessible pornographic content that pornography has become part of our daily lives. In this way, it is impossible to have the feeling of excitement and celebration that Joey and Chandler had, simply because the scarcity of hot naked woman is no longer part of our lives, and we are fully aware of it. Wouldn't be nice to experience the same sensations we had when we first looked and discovered pornographic content? Wasn't the feeling unique, an indescribable curiosity, an absurd and addictive feeling regarding the opposite sex? When did everything lose its charm? When did we start to not give due importance and not value the unique and biological desire that arises when we come across a naked woman? Don't you think that Joey and Chandler, even if they consume porn occasionally, were happier than the majority of the male population today? Now, given this introduction, here comes an essential question. Can you understand how excessive pornography can completely affect your desire to have relationships with the opposite sex? After all, if your desire and excitement for a Playboy magazine is minimal, it is easy to conclude that the female body no longer attracts you as much as it did for a man a few decades ago. After all, these men of the past live times of scarcity, while you are the potential owner of a virtual harem. Coincidentally, I was born in 1998, the same year this episode was recorded, and, therefore, I am a man whose adolescence and adult life do not belong to times of scarcity. So, in this video, I want to report my personal experience with pornography. I'm not going to bring any scientific facts to confirm how bad and harmful porn consumption is in a man's life. After all, the internet is full of this type of content. Most of us are already aware of how it affects our reward system, our libido, or even how it reduces our gray matter. The report I bring here, therefore, concerns my meticulous observations and self-knowledge over years of consumption.
We need a porn break.
I have been consuming pornography since I was 12 years old. I'm currently almost 25 years old. I never needed any scientific study or external information to know that this habit is harmful to any man's life. My own experience and self assessment have always confirmed this. I doubt that anyone who makes use of pornographic content will be satisfied with themselves. Naturally, we all feel the fatiguing, embarrassing, and lethargic effects that hit us after a PMO session. Even though I felt this in my skin, I continue this habit almost daily. And I have to say this here. It is not healthy for your self esteem to continue with something that your brain rationally understood as harmful. The feeling of helplessness and shame just increases. In July 2020, during the pandemic, I decided to start tracking every time I deliberately consumed pornography through an app. And well, here are the results. In total, 1,176 days were evaluated. Of these, I consumed pornography on 464 days, which is approximately 40%. There were days when I consumed more than once. Therefore, the number of total pornography sections during these 1,176 days was 576. You may not even consider it such a significant number. However, I must confess here that, although I don't consume as many times a day as some other addicts, my use sections have always been quite long. I estimate here that on average I lost about an hour per session. In other words, I lost approximately 576 hours of my life directly watching pornography. This is the equivalent of 24 days of life. I could, during that time, have seen 288 films, or read 96 books, or have taken specialization courses, or have gained a lot of experience with programming, or going out with friends, or exercising more, or even discover a new hobby. The truth is that the options are endless, and I simply refrain from exploring them. This certainly brings me deep regret. It is important to note that I only considered the lifespan that was directly affected by pornography. There is still time indirectly affected, which is represented by the lethargic, depressive, and demotivating period that permeates the life of a pornography consumer. I would even say that this one is even more harmful, simply because it influences your entire day. Your motivation plummets. The desire to live and seek better things for yourself practically disappears. The search for moments of socialization, especially with the opposite sex, becomes just a craving which seems to be unable to be satisfied. You end up falling only into the imaginative field. You keep fantasizing about a better life while you know you don't have the strength to look for something more. You want to find a partner, but you don't think you are enough or interesting to really take the risk. In an analogy, you are castrated and lose all the vigor necessary for full masculinity. Along with recording my porn consumption days, I ended up recording my daily mood through another app, starting around the same time. These are the color that identifies the five possible states in which I could classify my day. So let's see how my last 3 years went. As you can see, my mood record is completely consistent with a depressed person. I haven't had a day classified as good in approximately 3 years. Imagine so a day classified as incredible. At the moment, it seems like a utopia to me. In other words, I'm not happy. Most of my days were classified as okay. This is my basic state of lethargy. Even though, for example, my mood in 2022 was a little less depressed than 2021, it seems that it reached my maximum level, and in 2023, so far, I remain lethargic and tired. I'm not really saying that 100% of my depression is caused by porn consumption. What I want to demonstrate is that pornography is one of the main engines that fuel depression. When we understand that depression is a cycle, everything becomes easier to understand. When you are depressed, it's almost the same as saying you are stuck in a cycle. You have low energy, fatigue, and a very low level of motivation. As a result, you start to avoid contact with other people and reduce the level of your normal activities. When individuals with depression experience any form of temporary relief from their depressive symptoms, they may be more likely to engage in behaviors that lead to additional relief, thereby reinforcing those behaviors, whether through substance use, self harm, or drinking or pornography. This relief can be reinforcing in the sense that it provides temporary relief from the overwhelming negative emotions associated with depression. However, at the same time that this behavior causes temporary relief, it triggers thought patterns that lead to feelings of guilt, sadness, and hopelessness. These bad thought patterns and feelings feed on each other, forming a kind of internal cycle. From then on, the cycle repeats itself. Please realize that because it's a cycle, the wheel will continue to spin until we stop it. Something has to be cut from the cycle so that the same situations do not repeat themselves. Pornography, as part of temporary relief, is a crucial factor in keeping the wheel spinning. Exactly for this reason, we should all eliminate it from our lives. In the same way that removing bad habits from our lives has the potential to interrupt the cycle of depression, when we add healthy habits, the effect can be reversed. A positive cycle that triggers new improvements can be formed. For this reason, there are so-called key habits, such as sleeping well, sunbathing, eating healthy, and doing physical activities, which all have the power to serve as a spark for many other improvements in our lives. It is, therefore, a real snowball on both sides. For me, it is clear how pornography is a cog in this negative cycle, playing exactly the role of temporary relief reported earlier. When I experience some frustration or I'm feeling discouraged and unwilling to do any activity, I have pornography to turn to. And obviously, after finishing the session, comes the regret and the feeling of disgust. I hate this feeling, and even though I know it always comes, I continue to boycott myself by watching this low content. Feeling guilty and harm by watching pornography, but not being able to stop using it, is one of the symptoms that you are addicted. Another symptom is to open dozens of tabs at the same time, looking for the perfect video in the perfect scene to finally finish it. This takes us back to the case of the Playboy magazine, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Would you be instigated and completely excited to receive a simple Playboy magazine? Another is to escalate your content, getting tired of the more banal ones and wanting new emotions. Another is that you no longer wake up excited in the mornings. A man with an erection in the morning is a healthy man. This is an extremely important symptom to notice. Waking up with an erection is an indication that you are prepared and excited for the day. It is the sense of masculinity vigor. Another very interesting and often ignored symptom concerns the order of sensations that induced you to watch pornography. For example, if you are alone at home, not horny at all, but decided to watch porn to get horny, then you are probably an addict. Please understand that this situation is different from being horny and then looking for pornographic material. The order is important. It is extremely dangerous for your brain to become dependent on pornographic content to get an erection. You are reinforcing negative behavior. Finally, a very important symptom is that you have tried to quit on several occasions, but you have always failed. Look at the following graph that I constructed for my pornography consumption track. Each red line represents that I consumed pornography on the day in question. Therefore, the empty spaces corresponds to moments when I tried to stop using it. Most of the attempts were so poor that it is not even possible to identify them correctly. In fact, anyone who uses pornography knows that you are always trying to stop using it, which is why there are negative feelings associated after each session. My longest period of interruption was during the first half of this year, where I managed to reach the unprecedented mark of 59 days. During this period, I had the impression that I had definitely stopped. I was feeling extremely more energetic, and as a result, several new and healthy habits were being implemented into my routine. The wheel of depression was slowly unraveling, and I was aware of it. I started to return to old habits that I hadn't felt like doing for a long time, like watching movies, going out with friends, and talking in a healthy way with my family. My attraction to the female body was on the rise, and I began to have much more desire and eagerness to talk to women and have a relationship with them. I already had Tinder installed on my cell phone for a very long time, but I had never had the courage to set up a date, both because I was too lazy to talk and because I lacked self-esteem. However, during the period of time that I was in absence of porn, even with a little fear and insecurity, I had the strength to go on a date with a woman I met through the app, and it was a very good night, and we kissed and make out during all the night. On the last day, even though my life was slowly thriving, I ended up giving into the temptation and consuming pornography. A few days before that, I had already been flirting with the idea and slowly consuming some images or content that, even though they were not pornographic, were an indication that I was tempting. After starting watching again, it seems that there was a rebound effect, and I started watching pornography at an even greater level than before. In fact, this is another symptom of addiction that we can add to the list. When you stop consumption and return after a certain period of time, the frequency of use intensifies during the first few days. There was another moment recently, during the middle of 2023, when I managed to go about 30 days without consuming pornography, and I had basically the same benefits: more energy, improved self esteem, more sociability, and I started using Tinder again and found myself with more women. It's incredible to think that the only times this year that I had the willingness, energy, and courage to meet women were times when I abstained from pornography. This is a very, very, very important observation. Both times I felt like everything around me was rearranging itself to help me. It really seems like something mystical. For those who believe in the law of attraction, it all makes sense. In fact, for those who don't believe it, I recommend that you research the topic in quantum physics, but that's not the subject of this video. Currently, I am in a very bad phase in my life. I have been constantly procrastinating everything that is delegated to me. I'm not in a mood to socialize. I live at my parents' house and I feel like a burden, rotting at home. I constantly get irritated with them for futile reasons. I feel like my intelligence has been decreasing over the years. One of my greatest virtues since I was little was being quite intelligent, and now I have the distinct impression that my logical ability is gradually becoming less evident. I always liked solving those IQ challenges, and now they seem more complicated than they used to be. I am doing postgraduate studies, but I feel useless. I spend more time watching porn, YouTube, and Instagram than anything else. I should focus more time in my career. I should help more at home. I should talk to my friends and go out on the weekends. I must have had an immense desire to meet women all the time, but none of that happens. The pornography takes all the vigor of my masculinity and throws me into the wheel of depression. And that's why I am making this video. I want to commit to changing my life. I never want to consume this type of content again. I want to cut the cycle of depression. I want to thrive and not look back counting how many hours I wasted by consuming this stupidity on the internet. I already have examples in my life that the moments when I stopped using it were happier and full of interactions than when I was consuming pornography. I have experienced a portion of what life without pornography can represent, and I want to stamp that feeling in my head and use it as a fuel to now stop once and for all. This video is kind of a ritual to me, confirming that now I have definitely stopped. 3rd of October 2023 was the last time in my life that I deliberately consumed pornography. If you like this content and my story, please leave it in the comments. I'm thinking about posting my evolution over the months and using this as inspiration for other people. May this serve as a learning experience for everyone. What do you think? In the meantime, everyone stay strong and attentive. See ya.
We need a porn break.